Well, Monica Wofford is a renowned expert in leadership and author of a book that I cannot wait to hear about. And it's titled, Make Difficult People Disappear. Hey, Monica, our new best friend.
Hello, how are you?
I'm telling you, I know I need this. Everybody at the station here needs it. Everybody I talk to. We're so excited about this book.
That tells me you have one or two difficult people in your world.
Well, you know, it's just life, right? We deal with this.
Yes.
And I must say I am getting better at it, which is good. But we can always use a little bit of help.
Oh, gosh, and wouldn't it be nice if we could just make them all disappear, ... without having to go to jail?
Right,
wouldn't
exactly.
That be lovely?
Right, or anything bad happening to them, you know?
Exactly. No Uncle Guido, no funeral necessary.
No,
We may be able to help
exactly.
there.
Well, tell me, you must have had a few difficult people in your life in order to be penning this book.
I was actually called a difficult person once or twice in my life because of my, just say, reasonably forthright, direct, occasionally referred to as bull in the china shop personality.
I love it. So you were the difficult person.
I was. I spent a couple of decades in a family situation with parents with personalities vastly different than my own, feeling very much misunderstood and not necessarily valued because my personality just was different. And in fact, that's what many people encounter, because people, now you're not going to like this, but people inherently are not difficult by nature or on purpose. Now, some people make a habit out of it, but there are a lot of people, and the vast majority, in fact, who are perceived as difficult only because we expect them to be different than they naturally are.
Well, isn't that the thing? We keep thinking, oh, well, of course, they'll change their behavior and everything will be fine, especially if it's a family member, right?
Oh, yeah. When we do a lot of personality work, we actually have very high percentages of the time that families, a family of four, for example, will embody one of all four of the personalities we have in our brain, depending on what tool you use. We use one called the core profile. But a family of four will have one of each of those four personalities in the household. And then we wonder why parents feel guilty because they have a favorite child over the other, or they understand one child better than the other. And many times it's because of those very differences that we end up creating this long list of labels on how to describe difficult behavior.
Oh, my gosh. Well, if you're just joining me, I'm visiting with Monica Wofford, author of Make Difficult People Disappear. I know people are laughing right now. So excited every time I say that title. So now saying no is such a little word that people just have a hard time saying. So why is it so difficult for people to say no?
Many times it's a matter of confidence. Many times it's a matter of not really knowing how you're going to handle the reaction you might get. So there are some ways that we have taken the work of Make Difficult People Disappear, looking at those personality preferences and all the different traits that exist out on the planet, and being able to help people with how to say no in a way that, A, fits your style, B, might fit their style, but then also mitigates the amount of reaction, the volatile reaction you might get, because that's often what people fear.
Sure. Well, can you discuss the 6 savvy ways one can say no?
I can, but it'll cost you. Absolutely. One of them is using gratitude. You and I have both been asked to go do something, and instead of saying, no, thanks for playing, you could simply say, thank you so much for the offer, I'm going to pass. And you start out with the gratitude and then share your response. Notice I've never used the word no in the sentence.
Right.
You start out with gratitude, and that can often soften the blow. The second method is lose your butt. What I mean by that is so much of the time what we say is, I'd love to, but.
Uh-huh.
What happens in the English language when you use the word but, it negates everything you've said prior to it. Same with however, it's just a more sophisticated word. But when you use but or however, you end up giving more of a slap in the face than a simple response. I'd love to, but. That doesn't mean I'd love to. That means I'm trying to soften what I'm about to tell you.
Right.
Think about saying to your spouse, I love you, but.
Yeah. I love you, but I'm not going to marry you. I think that's one that men use a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a whole different show discussion.
You're so special to me, but
I do use make difficult people disappear methodology in my dating life, but again, a whole different radio show discussion.
absolutely. We'll have you back for that one.
The third step would be to speak their language. Being that there are multiple personalities out there, and the star, actually, of Make Difficult People Disappear is Sybil. It's a story, so the main character's name is Sybil, indicating personalities might be at play. With all of those personalities, learning to speak other people's language has tremendous value. If someone is very linear, very analytical, very left-brained, if you will, then your response needs to be logical, filled with details. Your no needs to have a detailed counter-explanation as to why, because they're wanting that information. If the person you're speaking with is far more bullet point-oriented, action, results, efficiency, then don't go into this long emotional discussion about why you can't. Just say, I can't, and they'll be fine with that, and they'll move on. So speaking their language also will soften the response you get, help them to understand where you're coming from. So those are 3 of the 6. There are 3 more if you still would like more data.
Well, definitely. But with what you just said, my biggest problem is I have learned to say no now, and I have somebody that works for me who can say no problem. So I send her a lot. And she's great, especially if it's something that, it's really hard to say no. But
yeah.
I mean, I always feel like I have to soften the blow. I have to give the list of reasons why I'm too busy when I am literally too busy.
And that's about how candid you want me to be?
Go for it.
That kind of response is all about the lack of confidence you have around your decisions to protect your own schedule. We're confident in, you know what, I am slammed. And it's okay that I don't have time for all 15 people that want to work with me, want to have lunch with me, want to see me after hours or whatever
Sure.
the case might be. That's okay. That's a healthy boundary to set. But in our culture in particular, in the U.S. especially, where we are rewarded for working 80 hours a week,
mm-hmm.
how they are. Oh, my God, I'm exhausted. I'm working 120 hours a day. But we say that like it's trophy-worthy.
Right.
Other cultures look at us and think we've lost our mind. But because we work that much, because the workaholic tendencies exist, we feel a lot of guilt and a lack of confidence around setting up a boundary that says, you know what, it's okay that I am busy enough for me right now and I'm not adding anything else into my schedule. And that's where that struggle of needing to feel like you explain why and soften all the answers, and what you're doing is justifying your own decision for you.
Well, I've actually had people get mad at me. And I'm like, really? It's like, are you really mad at me? I'm like, I'm going as fast as I can, and I cannot do this,
Are they mad at you because you won't meet them, or mad at you because it doesn't allow them now to get the results they want?
That's the reason.
Mm-hmm. Everyone, if you can imagine everyone out there, everywhere in the world, wearing a set of glasses, and even those who need it for their vision, but in this case it's a metaphor, everyone is wearing typically one of 4 sets of glasses, one that describes each one of the 4 primary personalities. And they're looking at the world always through that set of glasses. So the commander, the red, the stereotypical type A driven competitive person, is always looking through a set of glasses that says, get it done.
Yeah.
If a commander wants you to meet with them because you serve some utilitarian purpose that allows them to get more done, and you won't meet with them, then they're mad because they can't get stuff done. But they're not mad at you.
They're just mad that I won't do what they want me to do.
Well, they're mad that they can't get stuff done.
Right, exactly.
They have a need for control, so you not doing what they want would be an issue.
Well, if you're just joining me, I am visiting here with Monica Wofford, author of Make Difficult People Disappear, and she's giving me lessons too here, because we can all use them. This is something that's not easy, and when it's family, oh my gosh. It adds a whole nother, register of insanity.
Oh, yes. Do you mean those family members that we see at Christmas and Easter on purpose and no earlier or more often?
I know. I mean, sometimes I think, why do people put themselves through so much heartache?
Because it's expected, it's a habit, and we think we have to.
Exactly.
There are a lot of reasons for that. And these personalities exist in our family, and some people will make a habit out of the negative traits of all personalities. So that woman in your family that constantly whines, she's constantly negative, you can feel her toxicity even though she's 7 states away. You pick up the phone and the phone just oozes negativity. Chances are she's someone who is needing to get along with individuals, so she values people and she doesn't feel like she's getting enough of that. So she's morphed into this whiny, pessimistic preference, which is exactly what those who are more empathetic, kind, and loyal normally do when they're stressed out. Or she might be someone who is more the linear preference, who knows the right way to do things, at least for them. And when things are not done right, they start pointing it out, which gets them known as being very critical. So if you're seeing those kinds of behaviors, there's value in understanding what's their natural preference when they're not under stress, because all you're really looking at are the behaviors that come out quite naturally for that personality preference when there is stress involved.
Let's talk about the workplace, because I know there's a lot of people out there who feel overworked and their personal life infringed upon and whatnot. How do they handle it when they're afraid about losing their job?
You know, it's interesting. I sat in I've spoke twice today as a keynote speaker for an HR conference in Virginia. And one of the sessions in between my 2 talks was about employee rewards and recognition and a lot of survey data about how employees perceive employers feel about them. Employees right now are craving job security. So they've gone back to craving higher pay because the perception is that gives them higher security. Employers think employees want to feel valued and loved and have more workplace choices. And there are some employees who right now want more control over their work-life balance. But what's really happening in the marketplace is employees are starting to go back to food, water, shelter as the basic things that they're looking for from employers. But if you have a group of employees, of team members, who are wanting to have a little more control over their work-life balance and they're feeling encroached upon, then quite frankly, sitting down and sharing your expectations about outcomes as a boss, what is it you want them to accomplish? What do you want as a result? What are you wanting them to get done? And then asking for their input as to how many different ways they could accomplish that would be valuable. Having them provide input helps to create buy-in.
Right.
Many times employees build resentment and become difficult when they feel they have no say-so in the matter. They have no control, no input, no feedback mechanism. So in the workplace, we create a lot of difficult employees by shutting them out and giving them directives from on high, if you will, without asking for their input. These are people with brains of their own. They're not minions.
But don't you think a lot of people sign up for the job and then hold in all the resentment as they're going through this procedure of not saying anything instead of sitting down and trying to figure out what works and doesn't work for their life? And they're afraid they might lose their job, but they did sign up for it, for instance.
Sure. And we're always allowed to change our mind about what we sign up for. But
yeah.
There are a number of people who will take on a role and then blame the role for not being what they wanted.
Exactly.
Well, you made the choice to take on the role. So we're talking about some much bigger issues here of personal responsibility, employee engagement, that are part and parcel what starts to become the conversation when you look at dealing with difficult people. If all you do is have a dealing with difficult people class because you've got a lot of employees who are disgruntled, what you're doing is you're treating the symptom, not the problem. And the problem may be that there's a lack of personal responsibility. People are not willing to admit, I signed on for this job, but it sucks. I want to find something else. But there's a lot of fear involved in that and a lot of confidence issues and a lot of, gosh, what will my spouse say? So much of what we're talking about here is a true high degree of emotional intelligence and then confidence to be able to make your own choices and stand behind them.
Well, I think this book is so needed. I love it. Make difficult people disappear. That title alone has got to make people line up at the store to pick up a copy. I mean, everyone's got somebody they would like to see at least step to the side, so to speak.
Exactly. It does. That title was a big hit, has been a big hit. It's been translated into several languages now, and it's sold everywhere books are sold. Many people ask us for autographed copies because they want a personal message about their own difficult people.
Oh, that's funny.
If that's the case, simply go to MakeDifficultPeopleDisappear.com, and you can order the book as a gift and have it autographed to whomever you choose. But yes, it has been popular both on the book and the speaking circuit because we have a training class and a program that goes with it.
Well, is there another book in the works?
Oh, I can't tell.
Oh. Or you don't want to commit. You don't want to say no, right? Well, my guess is there'll be another book sometime soon from Monica Wofford. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you for the privilege. I look forward to the next time.
Me too. And in the meantime, be sure to check out our book, Make Difficult People Disappear. Thanks, Monica.